All right. Hello, Soulfire. Thank you for joining me. And hello, star people. My name is Christopher. I'm the AstroMedium and your host, intuitive astrologer for tonight's cosmic forecast and energy update for the week of February 28th through March 6th. So we're going to take a look at these astrological energies day by day, and then we're going to go later on in the video back into more depth on them so we can take a look at them from a higher perspective. We can work with them. We can take in more energy from them, and we can dissect them and really get to know them more, okay? So we're gonna start with Sunday, February 28th. And before I get started, this week is not as crazy as it has been. So this is gonna be a shorter video, but again, there's some important energies that I want to highlight, and this is going to be such a good fucking week. I am so excited for this energy, mostly because of the moon. Last week, or the week that we're in now, technically, today we've got a lot of astrological energies happening, but the moon made so many hard aspects and confusing angles to different planets. We've been moody, there's been a lot of stress, there's been quite a bit of confusion, especially emotionally. We've been rattled a little bit, especially because we're already building up to that full moon in Virgo energy, which is going to give us a lot of enlightenment, but a lot of anxiety and insomnia along the way. So this upcoming week is going to be much more emotionally stable, supportive, and grounded. So let's start with Sunday, February 28th. The moon will, of course, be in Virgo for most of the day. We'll still be sitting in that full moon in Virgo energy for a couple days after that. It'll probably be Wednesday of next week when we let off of that full moon in Virgo energy and its activations. Now, the moon will be in Virgo until 2:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when the moon enters Libra. So this is really going to stimulate some harmony within us. And the moon likes being in Libra. It gets to connect. Now, the moon is also going to make a quincunx to Venus that day, which is the ruler of Libra. So we might have some disconnection going on, some confusion in relationships, but we are super emotionally supported that day with trines. Trines are 120-degree angles. They are beautiful, harmonious. They are effortless. They are energies that are just interwoven into your life without you even having to try it. So the moon is going to make a beautiful trine to Pluto and Mars. And this is an activator. The moon is an activator. The moon is going to activate this Mars trine Pluto energy, which went direct yesterday, or not direct, went 0 degrees yesterday. I am really feeling this Mars trine Pluto energy. It's definitely making me, well, let's just say it's making me want to have sex, but it's also it has more drive in it. It's more empowerment on getting where we want and where we want to go. So there's a lot of energy that's going to play out next week that's activating. The moon is always activating larger energy signatures that are happening up there. So the moon is going to activate that Mars trine Pluto energy and set off the week with a bang. Now let's move to Monday. This is March 1st. We're already in March, if you can believe that. The moon is going to be in Libra the entire day. And this is probably the most beautiful, harmonious day of the entire week, although there's a few of them. This is a trine day. So we had a couple trines on Sunday, but this is full of trines. It is like pure sunshine, not a cloud in the sky, birds singing. That's what Monday's going to be like. Even if you hate Mondays, you're going to love this Monday. So Monday is really supportive in our goals, our ambitions, getting in alignment with our soul's purpose. Oh gosh, I can't even speak because I'm so excited about it. The moon is going to make a trine to the North Node, but also a trine to Saturn, Mercury, and Jupiter. This is activating as well because we've got this Mercury and Jupiter energy that are at play. Today, which is February 25th, we have an exact alignment between Jupiter and the North Node. And Jupiter is it's a benefic planet, very abundant, optimistic, positive. So with Monday, we have a lot of activations there that will trickle off into the rest of next week. So we've got a lot of positive energy coming our way, a lot of positive outlooks on things. So Monday, expect a lot more emotional resilience. You're able to handle your responsibilities and your obligations with more ease. You are looking at things from a higher perspective. You are feeling more in alignment with your soul's purpose. You are also communicating how you really feel with clarity and with ease and grace. So let's go to Tuesday. Tuesday is March 2nd, and the moon will be in Libra for most of the day, and then at 3:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon is going to enter Scorpio. But before the moon enters Scorpio, the moon is going to make a quincunx to Mars. So, and the moon is also going to square Pluto. So Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. So yet another day that's activating something else that's happening. So the moon, before it gets to Scorpio at 3:38, is going to square off with Pluto. This is emotional intensity. This is taking things to the extremes. This is deep psychological fears coming up from our subconscious and us projecting a lot of these things out, taking it out on people. And this can stimulate some jealousy or some resentment or some deep-seated rage, okay? Especially because Mars is in the mix as well. And the moon is going to make a quincunx, which is a 150-degree angle, which is confusing. It is tense because there's, every time you adjust, you just can't seem to get comfortable with a quincunx. So with Mars and Pluto, that Mars trine Pluto energy signature that's occurring is going to get activated, but we might channel that in some negative ways if we're not careful. However, on Tuesday, Mercury is going to make its third and final trine to the North Node to join that North Node Jupiter party, and I'm going to talk more about that larger energy signature later in the video. Now let's move to Wednesday. This is going to be the most electrical and exciting day of the week. So the moon will be in Scorpio for the entire day. So the emotions might be a little bit more deep and intense, but that's not a bad thing. The moon is an activator this day as well. And this is one of those days that might zap you and awaken you to something new. And we're going to be in the mood for it. We're bored. We're ready for it. We're wanting to connect. We're wanting to connect to something new. We're ready for new cycles to begin. We planted a lot of seeds at the new moon in Aquarius energy. We've taken them and we are seeing the harvest at the full moon in Virgo energy. And now it's time to take that into our relationships. The moon in Scorpio is going to make a trine, a beautiful 120-degree angle to Venus. This is going to stimulate some connection, some romance, some desire for intimacy, some desires to connect in deeper ways, and some creativity will be sparked. Speaking of spark, the moon is going to oppose Neptune, and opposition is 180 degrees. And remember, the full moon is an opposition between the sun and the moon. So these 180-degree angles cause an opposing force. That means two planets are in signs that are opposing each other. So there's a difference in energy. They're not necessarily arguing, they're agreeing to disagree. They're pulling apart. There's a tug of war. So the moon making an opposition to Uranus is going to stimulate a lot of desire to do something new. It's going to create some boredom, some agitation, breaking routines, maybe being a little rebellious and going rogue and wanting to do your own shit that day. And that's really good. Now with this trine to Venus and this opposition to Uranus, we have a larger energy signature playing out on Wednesday. Venus and Uranus are going to form a sextile to each other. So the moon is supporting us in feeling and activating this sextile between Venus and Uranus. And remember, sextiles are 60-degree angles. They are not automatically pulled in. You do have to activate their energy through some type of action or conscious awareness or intent. So with Venus sextile Uranus, I'm going to go more into that larger energy signature later in the video, but that's going to cause some excitements in relationships and with money. So stay tuned for that. Now, the biggest energy of the week, or the most important, I will say, happens on Wednesday. And that's when the god of war, Mars, exits the patient, responsible, grounded, and stubborn sign of Taurus and enters Gemini. We all know Gemini's getting a bad rep right now for being crazy, psycho. So imagine Mars putting on the Gemini costume. It's about to get wild. So now let's move to Thursday. Thursday is going to be kind of like Monday, super positive, super sunny, super joyful. The moon will be in Scorpio for most of the day, and then at 5:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon's going to enter Sagittarius. Oh, moon in Sagittarius. Moon doesn't necessarily do well in Sagittarius, but that is really going to activate the larger energies that are happening that day. Now, the moon is also going to make a trine to Neptune. That's beautiful. That's dreamy energy. That's more insight. That's more psychic downloads. Channeling may happen, more inspiration, more creativity. The moon is also going to make a supportive sextile to Pluto. So we may have some emotional support under there to be able to handle some things that come at us that day. But if all goes according to plan, all that comes to us that day should be beneficial and for our highest good, as Mercury makes his third and final conjunction to Jupiter. And that is a beautiful combination. You have the lower mind and the higher mind coming together, joining forces. And I'm going to talk more about that later. Also, remember that the moon in Sagittarius, Sagittarius rules or is ruled by Jupiter. So that is being activated that day and is stimulating more of that open-mindedness and that desire to expand our mind. Okay, so we've got a lot of mind expansion that's been happening over the past month as we've been getting these hits between Mercury and Jupiter. And again, I'll go into more depth about that. Now let's move to Friday. Friday is the tense day. It's the most tense day of the entire week. We're going to feel this energy build even on Wednesday and Thursday, except we'll have so many good energies coming in that we may miss this tense energy that's trying to build up. But this is the third quarter moon in Sagittarius. So yes, we have new moons and full moons, but there are moons in between that too. There's a moon all the time. So the new moon is a conjunction. It's where the sun and the moon are at 0 degrees together. A full moon is an opposition, 180 degrees apart. And then when you split that in half, you get 90 degrees. And those 90-degree angles are tense. This is a 90-degree angle day, okay? We've got the moon in Sagittarius for the entire day making a square to Venus. Oh, that can cause some relationship upsets. This can cause some feelings of disconnection, wanting closeness and intimacy but can't find it. Creative blocks, but there will also be a sextile to Saturn, which that's not going to be super strong, but it does give you some emotional resilience and being able to handle what comes at you that day. And we're going to need it because the sun is going to make a square to the north node. This is going to cause some trouble in ego town. That's not a really good feeling energy. We're going to be questioning ourselves. We're going to feel a little bit lost at times, especially with all this North Node energy that's happening right now. Our purpose, our mission, our path is really important to us. And this is going to challenge us in a specific way. Remember, I said challenge. It is not going to knock us off our high horse. We're on it. We're ready to go. We're on our path. But sometimes we have to take a little detour to get really clear. That's what retrogrades are for. That's the gift of squares as well. Now let's move to Saturday. We're going to finish off the week pretty strong. It's a confusing day, but it is enjoyable for the most part until we get later in the day. The moon will be in Sagittarius again for most of the day until 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when the moon enters Capricorn. Moon doesn't like Capricorn, okay? So moon being in Capricorn is already confusing. Now, on the way, the moon is going to sextile Jupiter, and that's awesome because Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So the moon in Sagittarius makes a beautiful supportive sextile to Jupiter in Aquarius, and that's going to give us, again, it's kind of like a mini version of what we had on Monday, a little optimism, a little good energy to start our day. The moon will then make a sextile to Mercury as well because they're still forming a conjunction. So again, we're going to have more clarity of mind. Awesome conversations that can be having that day. But later on in the day, the moon is going to make a very tense square to Neptune. Moon square Neptune is shady energy. It's illusion. You're not feeling from a place of reality. You're jumping to conclusions. You're suspicious. You're paranoid. So be mindful of that. That can also bring in more psychic downloads, but you're not able to perceive it or access it like you normally do. So it can cause some confusion. So be mindful of that as we are ending the week. You have a lot of energies at play that you can work with and benefit from, and it's all for your benefit, but some of them are going to feel so good, you're not going to want this week to end. So let's take a look at some of the larger energy signatures and frequencies that are happening in more depth. So like I said, the North Node is kind of the star of this week. It's receiving so many angles from the moon, Mercury, Jupiter, and the sun. So what is the North Node? The North Node, I like to call it the trajectory of the soul. And what that means is that when your soul comes into the physical body, into this incarnation, it has an intention. Now, from a soul perspective, time is not linear. So from our perspective, we would see this process through the nodes of the moon, because the moon is the subconscious, and the subconscious is where you can access all your other lives. Okay, all the things you've ever been exists in the Akashic records, and you can access that through your subconscious, and that is the moon. And the nodes of the moon, the south node and the north node, also called Rahu and Ketu in Vedic astrology, this idea or this concept is that when your soul gets here from a linear perspective, it has an intention and it wants to go in a specific way. Now you have all these extra frequencies, all these extra paths that you may take, but in the end, there's a thread that pulls you through, and that is the calling of your soul back to your higher self and back to your oneness and your wholeness. And even if you get completely off of your path, sometimes that is the intention that your soul holds. So right now, with today on February 25th, Jupiter is making an exact trine to the North Node. Now, we've already experienced Mercury making a trine to the North Node on January 16th, and I think in early February, because Mercury went retrograde. And when these planets go retrograde, they sometimes will bump up against each other up to 3 times. So on Tuesday, we are going to get a third hit, is what we like to call that, a third hit of Mercury trine the North Node. And although the North Node is still in Gemini retrograde, Mercury is now direct, and we've already covered this energy before. Mercury's already been here. He already made a trine to the North Node in January, and then he went retrograde, made a trine to the North Node again. That time we were more confused as Mercury was retrograde. We were recovering some things. We were going back over some details. We were reanalyzing what our purpose is. Why are we here? Where should our focus go next? Especially because all of that was happening simultaneous with the superstellium in Aquarius that occurred around the new moon in Aquarius. That was super intense, lots of energy coming in. You have a lot of new things you're wanting to do with your life. You have a lot of people that are coming into your life. And this refers to what is happening now as Jupiter is putting all the cooperative components into place and bringing you people, resources, ideas, new knowledge that is furthering you along and getting you to become more awake, to help your awakening and ascension process happen with more ease and grace so you can move down your path, whether you know about astrology or not, with more power in that. So you're also being brought people with that Jupiter energy that are in alignment with you and where you're going next. People who are serving you and inspiring you, sparking new creative insights within you that are pulling you into a new direction. And it feels very good. It feels effortless. Doesn't mean that we always feel good, but Jupiter is that planet of optimism and positivity. It's back in the day, thousands of years ago, it was the planet of good luck. I don't believe in luck. I know luck to be positive intention yields positive results. It's the law of attraction. So what that means is our attractive abilities are heightened right now. Not only do we have Jupiter making a trine to the North Node, but Mars is making a trine to Pluto right now. This is heightening our sexual energy. Mars is sex. Pluto is sexuality. Mars is action. Pluto is transformation. So those two are having a harmonious conversation with each other. That's stimulating more of that sacral chakra energy, which is attracting more things to us like a magnet, because Pluto is very magnetic and Mars is very attractive because there's that aggressiveness, that masculine energy that just wants to go out there and get it. And we have a lot of that tenacity and that zest right now. Mercury's trine to the North Node is getting our mind focused yet again on where are we going next, but it almost feels intangible in some way. With the North Node, it's almost this idea or this smell that you're getting a whiff of. It's not real clear. You just know you're receiving little thoughts. Maybe I should turn left today. Maybe I should apply for that job. Maybe I should put in my 2 weeks. There are certain changes that are coming that are not only a part of other larger energy signatures that are happening this year, such as the Saturn square Uranus energy, which has a lot of you wanting to make changes, but it's slow changes. With the North Node, there is something pulling you. It's just not as real or as definite as sometimes we like it to be. Now, with Mercury and Jupiter both making a trine to the North Node at the same time, they're also going to make a conjunction to each other. And I want to talk a little bit about that. And that's going to happen again for the third time on Thursday of next week, which is March 4th. Mercury is the lower mind. And I talk about this a lot in my videos, and it really helps to understand this. Mercury rules Gemini. Gemini is the lower mind. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the higher mind, and Sagittarius is the opposite sign of Gemini. So Mercury, when I mean lower, I don't mean less evolved necessarily, although it can mean that. Mercury and Gemini energy is very focused on details, zooming into the minutia, getting down to the pixels and figuring it out and looking deeper, looking more in depth, but also processing things from an analysis perspective, data, just taking in information just because of consciousness. Consciousness absorbs information, okay? It's like learning. But Jupiter, it takes that a step further, and it's the higher mind. It's you taking in information and giving it meaning. You taking in your life experience and assigning some type of philosophy to it, like a religion, a way of framing and structuring your spirituality. So Jupiter definitely has this higher perspective where you're able to see, from up here, from this vantage point, I have a higher but more positive outlook. So Mercury doesn't necessarily have an opinion about that, but Jupiter definitely wants positivity and sees from a higher perspective the benefit of all that is. And Jupiter is a benefic planet like Venus, which means it usually yields nothing but positive energy, okay? Whereas Saturn and Pluto have a lot of shadow qualities. Jupiter's shadow quality is excess. So when Mercury makes a conjunction to Jupiter, you might have a lot of big ideas. Sometimes you're going to get too big for your britches because Jupiter is confidence. It can create a lot of confidence in us. And we're going to need that later in the week when the sun has his conversation with the North Node. But before I get there, let's talk a little bit about Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be that electrical day. It's kind of like getting zapped and going, woo, and all the chills just run up and down your body. Uranus is the planet of rebellion, revolution. It's electrifying. It also rules Kundalini energy. So there's an awakening factor to Uranus. He is known as the Great Awakener. So on Wednesday, Venus is going to have a beautiful conversation with Uranus, and this is going to stimulate us in a couple ways. Stimulation is the word that you want to use, but let's talk about Venus. Venus is not just about love. Yes, it's named after the god of love, or that is the goddess of love, but Venus energy is less about love and more about value, pleasure, how you take pleasure in your life, how you enjoy things, how much you put value into something and what you value. That can be possessions, Venus and Taurus, because Taurus is ruled by Venus. That can be valuing your relationships. Venus rules Libra. But that can also be, what other thing do you think of when you think about value? Money. So Venus has a lot to do with money because it's all about worth, and how we look at money is that it has value. We give value to it. So Venus then automatically activates that frequency of money within us. So with Venus making a sextile to Uranus, there's probably going to be some feelings of wanting to impulse buy, but it might actually be a good thing. You've been working hard. You've been doing a lot of healing. You've been doing a lot of work. You've not been getting enough rest. Maybe you need to impulse buy and buy something for you and treat yourself. Venus wants you to indulge. Venus wants you to feel good about something. And what it's really going to affect and really be beneficial for is spicing up your relationships. Taking a partnership, a relationship that's on the rocks or one that's in a rut, and bringing it back to life, awakening it to some new possibility, some new direction that it can go in. Relationships that feel like they're going in a direction where we're not as connected. Boom, we both need more stimulation. We both need more growth. Now we're giving it to each other. We're going to do something new. We're going to change our routines, and we're not going to take each other for, well, how do you say that? We're not going to take each other for granted. Yes. So also on the same day, Mars. Let's talk about Mars a little bit. Now, Mars is that energy that gets your blood pumping. It gets you moving. It gets you moving forward. It's that act of spark, that fire energy that gets you focused as well. Now, Saturn may get you to work hard, but Mars gets you to move. And it's how you physicalize things. Mars was in Aries, its ruling sign, for 6 months in 2020, which was very rare and quite turbulent. Let's just say that, because when Mars is in Aries, he gets to be his full self. He went retrograde. He was upset, but there was a lot of movement and a lot of things that sped up in the end of 2020. But Mars went into Taurus right at the beginning of 2021 on January 6th, and this slowed some of that energy down. It created some frustration, kind of like when Mars was in retrograde, because Mars doesn't do his best when he's in Taurus. He moves slow, although when he does move, there's more purpose and he gets there with more solidity. But Mars wants to move and he wants to move quick. So now he's going to get to. He is so ready to enter Gemini, it ain't even funny. When Mars goes into Gemini on Wednesday, you are going to feel this little gust of warm wind pick you up. And it's one of those little swirly type of winds, like a tornado. It's not a bad thing. It's just a good thing. Mars does pretty well in Gemini. However, what you may notice at this time is that the projects you start and you initiate, you may not finish, okay? Gemini is notorious for being the butterfly. It flits around. It's superficial in certain ways. It doesn't stay anywhere for too long, but Mars just wants to move. So we're going to be getting shit done. We might just be starting a lot of projects, not finishing them, and not going as deeply as we did when Mars was in Taurus, not sticking it around for the long term, and that's okay. Both are equally powerful in their own way, but we also want to notice at this time some anxiety may come up for us because Mars is really physical and visceral in our body, and with it being in Gemini, it can scatter our energy. It can scatter our sexual energy, our creative energy. So for the next six to 8 weeks, we are going to have a different way of getting what we want. And this is not a bad thing, except it can feel strange to those of you who have more fixed placements, especially cardinal placements in your chart. This might feel a little odd as you can't seem to get things done in the way that you normally do. But again, I want to challenge people to have fun with this energy because there's a playful energy to Mars in Gemini. Mars is moving, but he's moving in a lot of different directions, and there's a lot of options for you to get things done in different ways because Gemini likes variety. So Mercury rules Gemini, so there is also a mental component to that. Focusing on things that have a lot more thought intention behind them, especially because the day after Mercury is making his conjunction to Jupiter again, that is going to really help that Mars energy pick up speed. We're going to be very positive. We may be attracting all kinds of different things at that time into our experience that are fun, enlightening, and are giving us some zest, some spice, some experiences that are simply fun because we need a lot more fun in our life right now. Now, the most tense energy that we're leading up to is, again, some North Node energy, and that's not going to be a large energy. Sun transits are short-lived. You're only going to feel those for about a week, 6 days. And the sun, he's our consciousness. He's the conscious vitality in us. It's that ego, that I am presence, that conscious awareness of self, okay? Those energies we're becoming, those energies that there's a light shine down on. And where the illumination is taking us now is to our soul's purpose. So the sun is casting a light on our purpose, but it's a square. So there's some kind of challenge there. And the sun may be shining a light on things about your purpose that your ego does not like. That could be you went through a lot of abuse as a kid, and now you are going to step into your power and you are going to share that story with the world and help others. But with the sun's difficult conversation with the North Node, you may feel like you're not worthy of that. You shouldn't be known for something like that, that your story won't help anyone, or that you don't have what it takes, or just simply that you don't want to share that aspect of yourself because you don't want people to see you as that. Because you may have some type of, it's maybe not all worked out. The trauma hasn't completely left your body. You haven't healed it completely. Those types of things will come up for us at that time. However, there are going to be some realizations about ourselves that you need to be consciously aware of. And it's the sun, so it's going to come to light. Once you're consciously aware of what comes up for you at the end of next week around worthiness, where you want to go, because a lot of that stuff's coming up during the Virgo full moon as well. But with the sun, yes, you do have what it takes. Yes, you are on a rocky path. Your journey to enlightenment or to be in alignment with your soul's purpose It's difficult. A lot of time, the greater the mission, the harder the journey there. So that's really good to embroider on a pillow and to post on Instagram. I get it. It doesn't make you feel good in the moment. But what this brings up for you, you want to notice, what beliefs do I have about myself? What ego dramas and stories am I telling myself and feeding into? Where am I giving my energy and where am I wasting my energy? Also, how can I move forward and stay in alignment and let go of some of this where I should be and where I shouldn't be? Because sometimes your ego has an idea of where you should be, and you can feel like I'm not where I'm supposed to be, I'm lost. Usually all of that is ego driven. And this Sun square North Node thing is going to bring this to light. This energy signature is very beneficial, although it can leave you feeling lost, confused, unmotivated. Okay, and there are so many energies at play that are there to support you. All you have to do in the ocean is find one of those waves that are coming in, and there's a lot of them. Jupiter, North Node, Venus, we've got so many positive energies. The moon making all of these trines and sextiles this week. Get on one of those motherfucking waves, relax into it, and let it take you to shore. Quit pushing up against the wave, quit swimming upstream. There are so many energies coming at you. That's what astrology can do for you. It can tell you, here's when the tide is when the waves are the best. Here's when the tide is high. Here's when the temperature is the best to get in the water. Get in there, have an intention, enjoy yourself, and let some of these energies take you. Let some of them also take you down some darker and more difficult paths as well, because there are things that you have asked for. Okay, there are things that you have been asking for on a soul level and why you came here. That's what this North Node energy is all about. But there are a lot of things that you've been asking for, even from an ego perspective, that you want to experience, yet you don't have the tools to handle it once you get there, and you don't have the emotional resilience to face the consequences of having such a thing. Some of you are wanting more money, you're wanting bigger houses, you're wanting better jobs, but yet you can't even handle the job you have right now. You can't even handle the finances you have right now. You want millions of dollars, but you can't even handle your $50,000 a year income. Oh, I can't pay this, I'm overspending this. What are you going to do when you spend all your millions of dollars? You keep wasting your $700 a week paycheck or whatever it is. So there are a lot of things your soul wants to move you through so that you become more clear about what it is that you want, and you can realize, there are things that I want that are not really in alignment with where I'm going and who I really am at a soul level. There's a lot of things I want that I want because I think other people will like me for it. There's a lot of things that I want that I feel will make me feel better because I don't think I can make myself feel better, or I have beliefs in me that are not serving me. So this is a time of illumination. But again, if you ride these waves, it will take you positively through experiences that reveal to you that a lot of the lies you've been telling yourself, a lot of the negative thought spirals, and a lot of the fears you have are not real, and they are not going to play out that way. So thank you, everyone, for joining me tonight. If you would like to book a reading with me, you can go to my website at www.christophermedium, that's Christopher with a Y, medium.com. I'd love to connect with you. I love what I do. Also, I am the in-house intuitive astrologer for Eclipse over Roswell here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I teach astrology class every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you would like to join me, if you're in the area, come in person. I'd love to connect with you that way. Or we also allow participants on Zoom. So I do recommend pre-registering as the class gets pretty booked up. So you can go to visit eclipse.as.me/astro to pre-register for that class. And it's only $10 and it's open to the public. So if you want to take your astrological knowledge to the next level, if you want to join with other people who are interested in astrology like you, come join the coven. It's a community of people who are ready to awaken, who are ascending and using astrology as a roadmap to guide them and to get the most out of their motherfucking life. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I will see you all next week here on Soulfire for another cosmic forecast and energy update. Have a good night.